Hi and welcome to this video where we'll do a dimensional modeling of the job ads data which we extracted and loaded in the previous videos with DLT, right? However, before we do the dimensional modeling, we have to understand how the data is. So we need to do a sort of exploratory data analysis. So we do an EDA. So I've created this worksheet, job ads underscore EDA. So let's do it like this. We start with show roles. This I want to find this role, copy this one, select this role, job ads DLT role. Let's see. No, not select. Use role. Right? Use role. Use role. Like this. Now it's correct. So then I can directly use schema job ads dot staging. I use the staging schema. So here I can show the tables. And we see here we have data field job ads, and this one I want to describe. So disk table job ads and data field job ads like this. So when we're doing the dimensional modeling, we can see here which type of data types that we have. So for example, the relevance we have in floats, we have the ID in a string. So here we can use strings. It says varchar, but this is the string synonymous to the string in Snowflake. So we can use string. And here we have timestamp, we have number, etc. So we need to cross-check this in order to do the dimensional model. Which data types that we have. And here you see all the column names, right? So first of all, we need to remember that we're looking for, what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for facts and dimension tables, right, in dimensional modeling. So what we can do is that we need to start understanding this data set. Okay, so let's do this. We do select star from data field job ads. No active. Okay. Use warehouse, then warehouse, and then we run this one. And here we have all the data, right? And from here I can download this. So I saved it as a CSV file. So here, this is the data that we have. So here you can see the raw data, right? So if we are scrolling a little bit here, we have the ID. It said that it was a string, but it seems to be a number, but they stored it in a string. Here we have a URL, we have logo, we have headline, we have the application date, number of vacancies. So here we have something that might fit in a fact table, right? And also this is, right now I'm kind of choosing this myself, but this should be very good to have a discussion with the business stakeholders and ask them what are they interested in modeling, right? What do they want to see with this data? So for example, this we want to check the number of vacancies. We want to check how relevant the vacancies are, right? And these are basically the facts, because they are the numerical values, right? They're the quantity, measurable quantities while the rest actually are not. We can scroll through here and check. Scroll through. Yeah, a lot of text. So it's important to understand the data, and we will do some select later to easier check it. But some columns here, we have employment type. Okay, this is some ID, some label of employment type. This is our ID, salary type. And you see it's different text values. So here's ID also, and here's also duration label. Let me continue here to check it a little bit. And here we have scope of work. Okay, scope of work. Let's see, so here's like 0 to 100 or 100, 100, as we can see. So probably in percentage. Employer name, this is quite interesting. And you should, like a lot of these, we shouldn't put them in, the fact table. However, they are dimension tables, right? So here we can think already that, okay, on the employer, maybe that should be another a dimension by itself, which we can use to enrich our data. So we have, for example, all the employers there. We could have something about the workplace, maybe, and we could have a date dimension, etc. There's a lot of different dimensions that can be added. Let me see if there's something more. Yeah. So there's still some columns which I haven't gone through yet. And let's get back here. And now we can start to select a few of them. Yeah, here we have the relevance, right? So that was a float before. So let's do select relevance. We could have workplace address _ street address. So these are, for example, so you can see these columns when you do the describe of this table. So here you have a lot of column names. So you can just pick some of them and start to try to understand them by selecting them, right? So here we could have also, what else do I want? I want, for example, I want the workplace address, postcode. We could check a little bit of them. Publication date, we could have. Publication date. So basically, for me, I've already scrolled through this and looked at some which I want to investigate. And you should do the same to investigate many of them. However, when I'm investigating, I'll show a little bit what I'm doing. So from data field job ads, for example, unit 5, I don't want to query all of them. So I run this one. And for example, here we can see a little bit of them. So we have here workplace street address. We don't have all the data, right? We have a lot of null values. However, the null values we can, when we are dimensional modeling, we can choose to not have null values. And what we do later on is that in the transformation steps later, we actually fill these null values with different types of text instead. For example, we could write, the workplace address is missing, for example, whenever there's a null. And here's similar for street address is missing, right? And for example, the publication date, we see like this, right? We could check some more columns. We can check web page URL, for example, and we see here yeah, the URL looks like this. Source type. Yeah, so which source it came from, right? So these might be something that could be interested, or maybe not. This is something you have to discuss with the business stakeholder, as I said before. Yes. And also let's select a few more different things. Select, for example, the scope of work, which we saw before. Scope of work min. Let's copy this part. And we can have scope of work max. We can have employer name. We can have salary type label. Salary description. We could have duration label. Logo URL, for example. I'm just picking different stuffs. So you look into the data and find things that you want to explore and to try to understand it. Employer workplace, for example. Employer name. Employer URL. Okay, let me run this one. Yes. So for example, here we see scope of work. Yeah, 100. We can see here, okay, employer name. We have salary type, etc. Salary description, some are null, and so on and so forth. So basically, I'm trying to understand it using explorative data analysis. You can also use different types of group by, different types of, you can use distinct to find if there's several values in, for example, the salary description. For example, are they, we could do select star, let's say select from data field job ads. What do we want? Distinct of salary description as different salary descriptions, for example, like this. I run this one. And here we see that, okay, there was these types. And then you see that some are undefined, some are null, some are aspecificerad, which means not specified in Swedish. So for example, you could choose to use this one to replace all the nulls and undefined. For example, because as we said before, we don't want null values. Yes. Okay, so now we kind of understand the dataset a little bit more. Like for me, I have studied it. I studied the dataset and chosen more what I want. So that has generated, that has led to this dimensional model that I will show you now. I won't code it out. I will show it and describe it, because we went through some coding of DBML last lecture. So let's move on to my browser here. So here we have the job ads dimensional model. So this is DBML, which you've seen before. So here the fact job ads, I've added the job ID. It's a surrogate key. It should be a string because I will use a hash value later. And similar for this, now I call them keys instead of IDs in order to for me to recognize that these are actually foreign keys, and they're referring to the primary keys of other dimensional tables, right? So here, for example, in this fact table, we have the vacancies and we have the relevance. and also the application deadline. Actually, this could be, we could have a date dimension also. However, I picked for simplicity to put it here, application deadline. And so we have the vacancies and the relevance as the facts, so that, for example, we can later on calculate that. We can check which types of jobs have different types of how many vacancies they have, etc. So then you can do some summary statistics. However, as I said in the theory, it's hard to anticipate exactly what the business really wants, and the requirements changes a lot. So it's important to have it in a lower grain, right? Which we have here for the number of vacancies in each. So each row represent each job ad. So one row represents one job ad. So that is our grain, and in that they have the number of vacancies, right? So this is our grain, and so here we have the foreign key, job details key, which refers to this job details ID in dimensional job details. So here is some details about the job. So for example, here we had the headline, description, and HTML formatted description, which we can use for if we want to put it into a dashboard or a web page where we display it nicely formatted. So here's more about the job details, and whenever there's something more that someone wants to model, we can just add it right into this dimension. So these dimensions can keep growing. And as I said in the theory, we don't want to normalize it, so we don't want to make it into a snowflake schema, because then it will be much more difficult for the business to follow along and understand, get the mental model. So this should be easy for someone to dive in and see that, yeah, okay, these are the different dimensions, this is the fact. And here we have some dimension about employer. So we have different things about the employer, like the name, workplace, etc. And here is this is actually called a junk dimension. However, when you present it to the business, you don't call it junk dimension, because then they think that the data is junk. Then we call it auxiliary attributes as a nicer name. But what is a junk dimension? Well, it's like here, for example, experience required. Then this one will be like a yes or no, or different types of options. For example, and driver license is also like different types of options, yes or no. Access to own card, yes or no. So these are also or access to, like it could be like true, false, or yes or no, or it could be have access to own car if you want to be more explicit. So it's basically different categorical variables, it's called. Yeah, now I got the name. So when you have several categorical variables, you usually put them into a junk dimension, also call it auxiliary attributes. So you can join on this one, and you can get this categorical as well. Or you can put them if you think they matches they correspond well to the other dimensions. You could place it there. So this is kind of a matter of there's not something written in stone that this is what you should do. It's kind of modeling, and depends on situation usually. For example, if you have a very, very long dimension table with a lot of these categorical variables, then it's better to place them in a junk dimension. And then what can correspond to long, etc., that is also up to debate. So modeling is not set in stone, but it's important to do the dimensional modeling. So this is a star schema now, and I encourage you that you build upon this and continue with it, because I do this for just as a proof of concept, and for doing some simple modeling later on, or transformations. And so I haven't done the full dimensional model for this job ads. There could be more dimensions to add. There could be more columns to add for each dimension. So I leave it to you as a reader or watcher of this video to continue on this this star schema, continue the dimensional model. Yes, and with this I would like to thank you for this video on dimensional modeling, and see you in the next one, where we'll set up DBT. And when we set up DBT, we will do the actual transformations to get it similar to this schema here. However, in the DBT, I won't transform everything here. I will do some of the things, so that I will leave more as exercise for you. Yes, thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.